In today's conversation, we're going to be talking about rapid or instant gratification and how it impacts your future. So let's get into it. Welcome into the Bears and Lions podcast. I am your host, Kyle Vaught, and this is the podcast where we challenge the present by viewing our past. I firmly believe that our greatest future lies within the correct view of our past, because we all have baggage, like we all carry it with us, right? When we actually unpack some of it, we find some of those old trophies, we find some of those old jerseys, or maybe those old running shoes. We find all those things that we actually have accomplished quite a bit. And although we may not be where we assume we would be, or maybe we're not where we think we should be, or maybe we're not even where society says we should be, we still have quite a few things that we can revert back to and say, no. I've accomplished this and I've done this and I am good with that. I like where I'm at right now. Now, I may want to go somewhere else, but I want to move forward with a positive outlook and not say everything's crap, because that's just not true. It is my goal with this podcast to have these conversations with you and to challenge your present and say, okay, what about your past has actually prepared you to step into your future? Maybe you want a new job. Maybe you're going to school. Maybe you're not sure what you're going to school for or why you're even learning something specific. Or maybe you're going through some relationship issues. Whatever it might be, it's my goal to have these conversations because I didn't have them growing up. I only had a few friends that would actually have these conversations. And I wish I had had more people who had these type of talks with me to say, you know what, you should stop being so down on yourself. You actually have accomplished quite a few things and you should be pretty proud of that. Now, you may not be where you want to be, but that's okay. There's always time that we can move forward and step into our future. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So let's step into the future together here. And today we're going to be talking about rapid gratification. And yes, you've heard rapid or instant gratification versus delayed gratification. I think it's very simple. And I think a lot of people understand the idea, right? If you wait for something, it's of more value. But then again, sometimes it's just easier to get it. And I think we live in a society as well, where in the last 10 years of my life, I've gone from having to go to a movie store or a Blockbuster to get a rental to where I literally at any moment can watch almost any movie on my computer or phone or tablet or TV from anything. Like the instant gratification society has switched so much. I did not have Uber Eats growing up, right? You would have the only places that would offer a carryout would be like a couple of Chinese restaurants and then pizza. Like those were the only restaurants that really had like a carryout system or like a delivery system. There wasn't many restaurants. Most of them you would have to go pick it up, or you would go and you'd sit in. I mean, I still remember the Pizza Huts that had the Pizza Hut logo in the building, essentially, where you would go and you would sit in Pizza Hut and they had like a salad bar and stuff like that. It's just a strange thing that now we've kind of developed this instant gratification or rapid gratification, depending on how you look at it. This mentality where I can get it now. I don't need to wait. Need to wait. And I think in some areas that's awesome, because when it comes to like medicine, you don't need to wait. Right? That can actually save lives. So it's like, this is so cool. I just saw on Amazon, they have, of course, the 2-day shipping has been like the 2-day Prime shipping has been for years and years. But I just saw same day delivery now. Prime is trying to work on same day and the 1-day delivery as well. Which it's fascinating to me because everything is at our fingertips now. And that changes how we develop. It changes how we reach or greet our needs, right? But before Amazon, there'd be a delivery time where we'd have to wait for it to get through the mail. And then we started being able to get things a lot quicker. Or maybe we'd go to the store to get it. And now we can order it and have it by the end of day from a lot of places. A lot of the major grocery stores already offer a same day delivery type of thing with like Instacart and DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that. So it's just fascinating. And I really started delving into the instant or rapid gratification versus delayed gratification. And I think a lot of people have heard of the marshmallow experiment. And so just as a refresher, for those of you who haven't heard about the marshmallow experiment, if you have, awesome, just strap yourselves in. The marshmallow experiment was done kind of in the 1960s, 1970s era. And it was a study done where they took hundreds of children, and the researchers would offer them one marshmallow, and they would say, here you go. You can have this marshmallow. This is yours. It's yours to eat whenever you would like. However, they would make a deal with them, and they would say, okay, if you can wait 15 minutes, then you could get 2 marshmallows. That's doubling your money right there. That's doubling your gold, your resource, your joy, your reward. So heck yeah, absolutely. It's just 15 minutes. But what they found was only a few of the children were able to hold on to that mentality and hold out that whole 15 minutes and successfully receive that reward of the 2 marshmallows, which is really interesting, right? Out of hundreds of children, there was not a lot that were able to do it. It was just a handful. And the researchers went ahead and they followed the children all the way into their 40s, and they were able to determine that the study had revealed that many of those that were able to resist the temptation of eating it soon, and they were able to delay that gratification, they were much more successful, like much more successful. They scored much higher on standardized tests, SAT scores, and things like that. They were also healthier overall, both with just their overall health as well as fewer cases of substance abuse or any issues like that. And they were way more aware and able to handle overall stress. So they responded way better to stress over their years as well, which is really interesting because that kind of puts it into perspective. Now, many other studies have happened since the 1960s and 70s. Some of them have actually even debunked some of this and saying that's not necessarily always the case. They redid some of the studies all the way in, I think it was in 2020, and they determined that there was actually a social economical decision-making as well. Like some of the kids who did not think they were going to get another marshmallow ever went ahead and ate it because they were like, it's there, it's in front of me. I'm gonna eat it. It's because I would rather have this now than not get one at all in the future. And so there were some interesting studies in that as well, where I think you could kind of delve into rapid gratification is not as evil as some people make it out to be, right? You should always wait. You should never do this. You should always, delay your gratification. I do think that there's a massive benefit in delaying your gratification, but I think there is a recognition of being able to say, there are some things in life that you should enjoy right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, I truly believe that you should cherish, hold on, and be absolutely the best friend, lover, friend, spouse that you absolutely can be. Father, that should not be something that's delayed of where it's, yeah, well, when I get to that age or when they grow up to this age, I'm going to be able to care a little bit more. I think there are some things that you should impose that rapid gratification where you say, no, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there when my nieces and nephews are coming over. I'm going to be there when I have the opportunity to, get that new opportunity with a friend to have a really good conversation, whatever it might be, right? A friend's going through something, I'm going to be there when I should. Those are areas where rapid gratification, you're going to be so thankful and your friends are going to be so thankful. So please understand me when I say this. I am not imposing never experience rapid or instant gratification. What I'm saying is make sure that when you are developing these decision-making skills, that you will understand you're conditioning your body and you're conditioning your brain to make the decisions. And if you do it in one area of your life, there's a possibility you'll do it in another area of your life. So make sure that you plan accordingly. Now, it's interesting because we do have the ability to train our brains. They actually did another study a little bit later, and there's a lot of studies that have followed the marshmallow experiment, but they did another study that they wanted to understand delayed gratification a little bit more. So they provided students with a prize or a reward, and they said, yeah, if you can wait 15, 20 minutes, whatever it might have been, you'll get double the prize. But this time they provided the children with toys and things to distract themselves. And what they found was much more percentages of the children were able to wait. And they were able to delay that gratification and get that maximum prize because they were able to distract themselves, whether it was playing with toys or one even fell asleep during the study. Like, they found a way to fall asleep. And I know that there are some of you out there who are like, that's me. I would fall asleep because it's just easier, right? Oh, I have to wait. All right, nap time. But it's just interesting because I really think that that's a really good lesson on how to train your brain with rapid versus delayed gratification. So maybe it is something that you're pursuing in life that's taking a long time. If you really want to be a doctor, you have to understand you do not go to school, graduate high school, and then go to college for 4 years, graduate college, and become a doctor. Like if you want to become a doctor, there's so many years involved. There's so many different avenues, and there's so many different practices that you have to go through. And it's not just, there's fellowships and whatnot. There's not just anything that you just go and get. So you have to have that mentality of, I know this is going to take a long time. But if you learn how to distract yourself with the correct mentality, it can open up avenues where you can be much more deliberate in your choices. So maybe just right now, you're somebody who you want to go and you want to lose some weight in the gym, or you want to go and you want to build some muscle in the gym, or in other cases, maybe it's something that you want to learn an instrument. It's fascinating because you can actually develop those by practicing very minimal or doing minimal. So if you practice 15 minutes a day or work out 15 minutes a day, but every day, that adds up, and eventually you're going to see a difference in your weight. You're going to see a difference in your muscle. You're going to see a difference in your skill with whatever instrument, or maybe you want to learn how to sing and you're practicing with your voice. Same thing has happened with this podcast. Is the more I've practiced, the more I feel like I prepare much better because I understand the time frames of what I always want this podcast to be in. So instead of it just being me talking and trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about, I've episodes and conversations planned in advance, and it really kind of encourages me because I didn't start this thinking I was going to do that. And we talked about it before. If you want to be good at anything, you have to be willing to be bad at something, because at the beginning, no baby just is born and then can walk and talk and say, what's up, homies? Like, let's go do it. That's just not how it works. So you have to kind of take baby steps. And as we look at the training and conditioning our minds for that rapid versus the delayed gratification and what it might look like, is understanding the science sometimes is beneficial as well. Why do I want it now? Well, we found out, and science has determined that that's the limbic system, that's the driver in that rapid or instant gratification, where it's anytime we're under stress, anytime we have any type of stress, we immediately produce cortisol. That cortisol is going to numb us to a lot of different things, and it's going to just amplify that stress. Dopamine is whenever we experience pleasure, so it releases dopamine. It is an automatic response. That means you have no control over that. If you see something that you want, I want it and I want it now, that dopamine's going to release. It's going to happen, and it's an automatic response. Flip that to delayed gratification. Why is it different with delayed gratification? Science has proven that it's the prefrontal cortex that is actually a part of our rational decision-making skills, and it is able to visualize a bigger picture. So almost like a puzzle where you can see that it's gonna be something eventually, but you just have to put one piece at a time and know that eventually it's gonna come all together. So that's the prefrontal cortex, and that helps with planning. So maybe if you're planning out your future, your next few months, maybe it's planning your next date. Maybe it's planning as something as simple as a weekend getaway, or even just planning your week out, your meals out, whatever it might be. that's going to be a part of that prefrontal cortex's job that's going to help you out with that. But that is not an automatic response. That is a very intentional and conscious decision that your brain goes through, that you go through while you do that. And we can learn to develop this by conditioning our brains with trustworthy things, i.e., we can work out, we can practice, we can do more. And that's something that's really unique about humans, is we can actually develop and learn skills that are way outside our expertise or ability, right? We can learn how to be extremely eloquent in another language, even though our social and geographical place of living, maybe we grew up speaking Spanish, but we learned how to speak English as well. Maybe we learned speaking English, but we want to learn German because we want to learn German and move to Germany. Other countries do this all the time. Most other countries all know 1, 2, 3, 4 languages at a young age, which is just fascinating to me. And so when you're training or developing those skills, you can measure it. Pick something. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something as simple as handwriting or journaling or reading, right? If you spend minimum 15 minutes a day, but over time, as you do that every single day, you're going to see that you're going to be smarter. You're going to either learn a new skill. Maybe if it's working out, you're going to see a difference in your weight or maybe a size. So you may not be losing weight, but you're losing inches. And that's what happened to me when I started losing weight. I was like, cool, I lost like 10 pounds really quick. And then I didn't lose any pounds for a while, but I realized I'm gaining muscle. I'm stronger. I'm lifting more weight. And I'm losing inches. So it was fascinating to me that we were able to do that. And I was able to see that there's something happening here. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a reward at the end of delayed gratification. And this can be measured and applied to anything that we're learning, whether it's a language, an instrument, friendships. You want to be a better friend? Practice. Hey, you want to get coffee today? If you're not sure how to talk to a bunch of different people, invite the people that you know and just say, hey, want to come grocery shopping with me? I just want to talk with somebody while I go grocery shopping. Call a friend that you haven't talked to in a long time. It's extremely beneficial. I can promise you this. But there is an importance of delayed gratification. And as I was really boiling it down, I remember there was a quote by Zig Ziglar that said, be careful not to compromise what you want most for what you want now. And that is so important to be able to put into perspective. What do you really want? Because do you want the cake now? Or do you want that summer body when you get to the summer? Now, sometimes you can get the cake, but other times it's best to say no and just delay that gratification and say, you know what? I really want to look good for this wedding, or I really want to look good. Or I really just want to be healthy. You know, maybe it's not even about looking good, but it is factual knowledge that when you delay rapid gratification, you will experience a long-term satisfaction. I think it's very simple to establish that in your mind and in your health, in the way that you look at the week. And of course, we're starting this brand new week out. This year has gone by so incredibly quick. Each of these conversations, I think, is just an opportunity for us to challenge and say, okay, where can we be better this week? So this week, as you're going through your work day or your school or your classes, whatever you might be getting ready for, start asking yourself, what do I really want? And if I can, delay it a little bit. What's the benefits of delaying this full desire? You know, what do I need to do today that will set that tone later on? I think it's important that when we step into our future, that we're not stepping blindly, but that we're using that prefrontal cortex to make some rational and very smart decisions with planning and execution, just like a football team, because it's week 1 of the NFL, and I am so excited. It's been so exciting. We'll probably have a whole conversation about sports at some point. But not today. Remember to follow me on my socials at Kyle Vaught. That's KYLE V as in Victor ATT on X. Also on YouTube, you'll find me there. And then on Instagram, it's Kyle_Vaught, V as in Victor ATT. So make sure you drop me a follow there. I'd love to interact with you. If you guys have any ideas for conversations you would like me to research or talk about, please drop those. Absolutely drop those. I'd love to have a conversation about some things that you're going through, or if you want just my opinions on something, I'd love to do an AMA at some point. Ask me anything. Maybe we'll do it live. Who knows? That's going to do it for this conversation, though. I hope you will always give grace, show love, and stay stellar. Y'all have a wonderful week, all right? Peace.